Hello, and welcome to this session for reflection on the power of perspective. And it is so powerful, but the issue is we don't often really know that it's happening. And so how we see the world, it can be determined by the idea of ourselves and what we feel is important. So, for example, you go to a new place and you meet a group of people, and we often ask, what is your job? And it helps us, I guess we feel we can define and understand each other because we're having this perspective from a certain trade, a certain training. But in another group, it's not as important. There's something else more important, maybe family connections. And it affects the way we see the world and what we hold important. And this is going on. Nice to be aware of it, because then we can consciously become a bit freer, because after all, if we're constantly judging ourselves based upon the work or the quality of the work or education background, etc., there's not much freedom for being able to come out of the different emotions that are associated. And perspective can change if we become aware, but also when we understand something new. So maybe at work, you might have a colleague, you might find them really difficult, but if you understand a bit more about them, and maybe they have some situation or health condition, and it's led to a certain behavior because of an ailment or a pain, you might now approach that colleague with more understanding, and your perspective shifts. You can appreciate the qualities, and you can more naturally tolerate the challenges. So here also perspective is something that exists, and we are just seeing it from that view, maybe a more generous view or accepting view. But here we're going to contemplate one aspect of spirituality, and a description of something divine as a beautiful traveler. That is how we can feel ourselves in this world, to be naturally feeling all the positive qualities, because we are actually touching base with our sense of self, which is beyond the ego, which is meaning we're not vulnerable. Otherwise, ego's perspective is potential victim. What are they going to say about my latest project, or what is happening in my immediate world? If something is going wrong, I feel vulnerable or potentially. So this is limited identity and understanding of the self. But the perspective from beyond, this role which is temporary, to something which is more unlimited, and behind and before that role is our self, which is like this original being and traveler. So this meditation for a few minutes, invitation to come from this perspective. So I hope it's clear so far, and you can always write in the chat. So if you would like to just really simply acknowledge right now, wherever we are, the posture of the body, and make sure that you feel really relaxed. And often taking a deep breath helps to relax the organs in the body. And a general awareness of wherever we are in the soundscape around, the landscape, and a perspective which accepts the world as it is in just this moment, just this immediate present moment. Also acceptance this world is changing all the time. Play with the idea for concentration, a very simple idea, the perspective of an invisible traveler that is visiting this world. If I wish, I can focus on a sparkling point of gentle light, which is the invisible traveler, more like a presence, being of light. In the eye of the mind, I hold it very simply, gently. And we see this idea of a traveler. Traveler enjoys to travel light. Traveler sees many different scenes, but they are passing through and they don't wish to cling to those passing scenes. So we're just playing with this perspective of a traveler in this world. Very clear that there was a beginning to this journey and also an end or an exit. And that is so natural for a traveler. The whole picture is very clear. And it's fun to arrive, and it's also fine to return back home. There is lightness, acceptance, no burden of possession or expectation. Travelers are open-minded to what they find. They tend to feel appreciative of what comes. It feels quite more like a gift, whatever is there. And they are always well received. The guest, the spirit of the guest and the spirit of the host. It's a very beautiful exchange. Secondly, we are getting a little deeper. The perspective of the guest as an observer of this world. It is seeing this world of change, amazing world of such variety, invisible spark of light to this traveler. Try to grasp the subtlety, the observer, looking through the eyes, the body. There's also a guest in the body. A free guest, an independent guest using the vehicle of the body. What does that look like? What does that feel like? very secure feeling, and the freedom. Guest always looks after, like a trustee, the things in the place. Respectful feeling comes when one is a guest. Very sweet feeling of exchange. So easy, this perspective, to see this world. Observer is very peaceful, looking through the world through the eyes. Deeper still, we add to this. Invisible traveler is from a different reality or a dimension. He's made of light, non-physical. So visiting the physical world, which is a bit like a virtual reality or a story. So like we put the glasses on the virtual reality and step into a different world. This invisible traveler comes from a home of peace, travels to the physical world, like a physical stage, a play, another reality. And this reality, the physical world, doesn't change his primary world. Just like when you watch a story, it doesn't change your life. It is fictional, secondary. In the same way, you can see the perspective. Everything that happened today happened on this world stage in a story. The visible traveler can be free and step back. It is meant as a gift. Acceptance, peace, and also joy at this entertainment. No one is harmed by a story. It's not meant to harm. It is for extra experience. So finally, the perspective of this, we can come beyond the story in the mind. We come to experience above and beyond the story, the perspective of this guest in its home. Can use the image of a sky to place this sparkling star in the home. It's beyond the noise of the story, a world of silence, true peace, a sense of belonging, perspective of everyone belonging and having unconditional love. It's a fullness and a freedom. Perspective from the home. Independent. Naturally in peace. Knowing everyone is beyond harm. This perspective. Coming home of the traveler. It is like touching the ground, the base, the starting position. As we bring the focus gently back to the environment, it is so fascinating to play with this perspective, the traveler, which we can do anytime. Thank you. So, as we may wish to play with this, it's like not about proving this perspective exists, but like knowing we can experiment with it. But it is seeing beyond and behind the ego gives so much of a relief, and it makes sense that we are guests, as we have plans to be here forever. Touching that ground, it's like your intervention, your act can come from peace, and signals to others that you don't have to use a perspective of something limited to achieve in this world. And it is a beautiful perspective. It's bringing beauty into the world, hence the beautiful traveler. And this is the possibility to feel like this honorable guest of the true self. So I really wish you well in your journey in the sky and on the earth, and enjoy your experiments. Thank you.